Welcome in, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Football Addicts Anonymous. Once again, just Chris and I.
How's it going?
We're chilling. Won a little bit of money on the soccer game that just ended, so just a
Starting
tiny.
off on a good note.
Well, it's better than last night when the Nets cost me quite a bit. So, but it's okay. They're going to win the championship. It's fine. So, yeah, looks like no slide again because my external hard drive does not want to work once again. So nothing too important on the slideshow today, but hopefully we'll get it figured out and can have it back on Monday. But yeah, a lot of news this week. And that's all we have today. It's just news. So it'll be pretty short. But let's start off with probably the longest discussion we'll have for the NCAA playoff. College football playoff is expanding, most likely. Anyways, it's not official yet. But they're getting proposals this coming week, I believe it is. And the belief is that the 12-team format will be adopted, and the initial details of that were the 6 highest ranked conference champions and 6 at-large bids. So, I don't know.
I mean, I'm a big fan of this. I've never been a fan of the 14 playoff thing. I think it was just stupid to have only 4 teams compete in a playoff. I thought that they would start off by doing a smaller one, maybe 8 teams, but if they're expanding all the way to 16 or 12 or whatever it is, I like that better. I mean, we just saw it from this past playoffs. There was a lot of teams that were ranked like 5 through 10, maybe, that I thought deserved a shot at least at the championship. That obviously didn't get in because there was only 4 teams. So now that they're planning on expanding to more teams, all those teams that we had talked about during the playoffs and all that, they now will have a chance in future years, which I definitely like a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I like that they're expanding. It's just like the NFL expanding to 14 last year. It gets more fan base interested, for one, which, cause and effect, gets the NCAA more money and the schools more money, because there'll be, just like there are bowl game bonuses for schools, the college football playoff, you get a lot more for being in it. So I did see that this would cause at least 3 bowls to be eliminated, which that also brings into question, though, like, now 12 teams, which I think it said the top 4 would get buys, and then 5 through 12 would play the opening round. But that's the thing, though. We have this rotating schedule of New Year's 6 bowls where 2 are always the college football playoff. How's that going to work? So that is also interesting as well. But yeah, I actually don't like the 12-team model, though. If they're going to expand, in my mind, I have a model that I thought worked pretty well, which is 16 teams. Um, you have 10 conferences at the Power Five level, or not the Power Five, at the FBS level. And then, so my model for me, anyways, would be 16 teams. You take all 10 conference champions. You take the highest ranked independent, which is always going to be Notre Dame. But you have to have the independent included there, because Notre Dame is always really good. And then you get 5 at large bids. So I thought that would be a good model.
Yeah, I mean, I like that too. I've already always never really been a big fan of like the playoff seeding and all that. Obviously, we had the controversial pick of Ohio State making it this past season. But now maybe with the expanded playoffs, maybe the seeding will be a little bit better. Like, I don't know. If there were more teams in this past season, I don't think that Ohio State would have been ranked number 4.
Yeah.
I think they would have been ranked a little bit lower. And I personally believe that they were only ranked as high as they were to get them into the playoffs. But yeah, I agree with you though. I think that 16 would have been the way to go.
Yeah. No one listens to me though. It's fine. But yeah, another thing with this though is that it's kind of disappointing that we're talking about it now, because we're not going to see it until 2023 at the earliest, because they have the contract with the college football playoff that they're going to play the 4-team for the next 2 years, and then possibly in 2023 season would be the first year that we could see an expansion. But more than likely more than likely it would be 2023, but that's the earliest, so
I mean, I think they'd be stupid not to expand at least a little bit, even if they don't end up doing the 12 teams like they have planned right now. I still think that they should at least try some sort of expansion, whether they end up agreeing on 8 or whatever. But I think that the college playoffs definitely need to be expanded.
Yeah, I initially I heard that they were getting proposals for 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14 teams. Not 16 teams. Yeah, not 14 team ones. But yeah. Heading on to the NFL news here. We'll start off with some interesting news out of the NFL. The NFL and the NFLPA are combining to offer $1 million grant for pain management research. This includes cannabis and CBD. So the NFL is possibly going to finally nix its marijuana bias ban. Who knows? The country, the United States is state slowly legalizing it. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of get both sides of the argument though for banning it and for allowing it, because I mean, marijuana in itself isn't like harmful. It doesn't affect their performance, whatever else. So I don't see the reason why they couldn't do it in the first place. I mean, obviously it was illegal in the United States, but now that it's being legalized, like you said, I don't see why players shouldn't be allowed to do it. And obviously we've seen it kind of derail a lot of players' careers. Most notably, I think Josh Gordon's career because he just couldn't stay off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if it's going to be legalized within the NFL, like a guy like Gordon who is essentially addicted to the stuff, he will be able to have a career now.
Yeah. I mean, I did think once, the first couple of states legalized it, that the NFL should have changed its policy then to, if you play for a team in a state that it's legal, you shouldn't get penalized for it coming back in your drug test.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's how they're going to do it. Obviously they're going and getting people to research it now. So we'll have to wait and see what they bring back and if the NFL changes its substance abuse policy or not in the future. Also, just general NFL news. The league, they are requesting proposals for host cities for future games in Germany. And I don't even remember what I did a project for a class. I don't remember what class it was. It was here at UGA for grad school. But I do remember, however, talking about up and coming football countries. And Japan is the number 2. Obviously England, United Kingdom, that's the first because they've had the UK football games for quite a while there. But yeah, Japan is the second leading country, I believe, in my mind. They have a lot of football leagues, youth football league there as well. And Germany is also in that conversation right with Japan as the next couple countries that are up and coming in terms of football fans and playing American football. So yeah, it's really good that they're going to Germany. I mean, they've had Germany football, like United American football there before. When the crap, why am I blanking on the name? I know the old name, but the WLAF, the World League of American Football. But that turned into the other league that Adam Vinatieri played for. Kurt Warner played in. I don't know why I can't think of it right now.
I have no idea.
But yeah, Chris, do you have any thoughts on Germany getting some games?
I mean, I don't know. I could see it from a bunch of different perspectives. For one, as a fan, I don't know how much I like it because obviously Germany is further away than like the UK, and the UK games start at 9 o'clock in the morning or something like that at our time. So if they do a 1 o'clock game over there in Germany, that would make it even earlier in the morning for us. So I don't know. That's from a fan perspective, though. I don't really like it in that sense. And also, from a fan perspective, I wouldn't like. I hated if like one of my teams, their home game was out there because then they lose a home game in their stadium that they're used to having all their fans and like that's a big deal to the players. So, and like we've seen it in the London games where there's fans from every single team at those games because they only get 2 or 3 a year, if that. So I can already see it now. The Germany games, it's going to be the same thing. Like there's going to be fans from every team. So there, I mean, I don't really know how the cheering would go necessarily. Maybe everybody cheers for everything that happens because they're just so excited to have football there, but it's still not the same environment as if you were at your own home stadium. So from a fan perspective, I don't really like it, but from like a global expansion and getting the game of American football out there, yeah, I like it. Um, but again, I don't know. I don't really necessarily like the location of Germany because, like I said, the time is a little bit different. And like you were saying with Japan too, if they ever decided to do a game in Japan, that's I believe like 13, 14 hours apart from us. So you'd really have to figure that one out.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of time, the NFL has done like last year, they did a night game in London, or not last year, 2 years ago. They did a night game in London. So it was like a 1 o'clock Eastern start here, which was nice. But, uh, and I don't know how I couldn't think about this. NFL Europe. That's what the World League of America. I got the World League of American Football right, though. I knew that name. I just couldn't remember that they rebranded to NFL Europe. But yeah, NFL Europe had teams in Germany. Adam Vinatieri didn't play for those teams. He played for the Amsterdam Admirals. But yeah, they've had football there before. NFL Europe was a help to the early expansion of American globalization of American football. That's actually what my paper was on was the globalization of American football. So, but yeah, I'd have to find that paper. That was a pretty good one, actually. I thought it was, anyways.
Yeah, I had to do one too. I think for Arner one year. So
I I like it. I think that all the other leagues are already worldwide. Major League Baseball, NBA, both of those are already worldwide. NHL. I mean, it helps those leagues dramatically that you know they get players from all over the world, and the NFL doesn't. So but this like I said, Germany and Japan, London or England, the UK in its entirety, they've started the grassroots programs to get youth football going. And if they would if some of the universities in these countries would start adding college football as well, possibly the NFL could start getting players from some of these other countries. But it's still going to be hard. I mean, the United States is still going to be obviously the best. And players, that's the issue too, is that even if you are really good in another country, when it comes your time to go to college, you're gonna want to come and play in the FBS or the FCS at the Division One, because that's your best chance of getting drafted. So I don't. Next, Peyton Manning. So he is going to be inducted into the Broncos Ring of Fame. That will be on Halloween this year. The Broncos are hosting Washington football team that night or day. I'm not sure what time the game is. But, yeah, Peyton Manning going into 2 teams. Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, Ring of Fame, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody has meant as much to a franchise in as little time as he played for them. Like, I think he's been the most influential player for a single franchise in that short amount of time that he was there. So he definitely deserves it. And I mean, that's just he was already elected to the Hall of Fame, like the NFL Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he was already in the Colts Hall of Fame after being with them for so many years. So the last thing left was to be inducted into the Broncos Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor, whatever you want to call it. But it's interesting though that they chose that game to do it, uh, because for one, it's an interconference opponent, and like I don't know, I just feel like at least in my experience, most of like the award ceremonies or whatever have been done when they're playing against like a division rival or something of that sort. So to have them do it against the Washington football team, I think is kind of interesting.
Well, maybe they think they actually have a chance to win that game. I don't think they will, but yeah,
Well, it depends on who's the starting quarterback, but right now, yes, they would not.
this is true. Yeah, Peyton though, still the only team. The was it 2013 Broncos, the only team ever to score over 600 points. Crazy offense that year. Doesn't matter. They didn't win the Super Bowl that year. They won in 2015. So, but yeah, good for him. And I don't know how many players. I know there's not that many that are in multiple teams Hall of Fames. Um, he might be one of three.
I I couldn't even I can't even think of the other ones. Maybe somebody like Charles Woodson for both the Raiders and the Packers. I don't even think he is right now, but I could see him being a player that is. But um,
Well, I could eventually see Adam Vinatieri joining Peyton Manning as that for the Colts and the Patriots. But other
yeah,
than
but not like I said. I don't think there's any player in NFL history that has had more of an impact on two different franchises than he did.
never mind. I was thinking of someone else. Well, I mean, he wasn't. I was gonna say Rodney Harrison for the Chargers and the Patriots, but he wasn't great.
Mm.
So moving on, let's go to the Bucks. Bruce Arians. He has a revised deal, gets a pay raise after the win in the Super Bowl. And also, GM Jason Light, he has a completely new deal, an extension, essentially. So he will be in Tampa for years to come. I would assume that he will be in Tampa after Bruce has retired, which
Yeah,
shouldn't be that long.
yeah. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, though, I think that the main reason that the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl is because they signed Tom Brady. I don't think that they would have won it with any. Well, maybe not with any other, but with the quarterbacks that the other options that they had at quarterback last year, I don't think they would have won it. So, yeah, they can all thank Tom Brady for those extensions and all that.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Arians is 68. He'll turn 69 this year. So, how many years does he have left?
I mean,
That's the question.
there's a couple people though in the league that are older than him.
Well, yeah, Pete Carroll.
Belichick and Carroll, I think.
Yes, those are the only two. Because Andy Reid's younger. So, yeah. Still, though, Bruce has already retired once. if though, that's the thing. If they win back-to-back Super Bowls, how can him and Brady not both retire? Like, come
Brady
on.
still wouldn't, because that's just Brady. Brady will never retire until he physically cannot play anymore.
Well, yeah, I know that. I also had this conversation with someone else, not about Bruce Arians, but about Tom Brady. And I was like, there's still a couple records that Brady doesn't have. For one, he doesn't have the oldest player ever to play in the NFL, which he's getting closer, but he doesn't have that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there's what else? There was another one that I was saying that he doesn't. He didn't have, and I can't remember.
I mean, he doesn't have the yardage record, but he's going to break that this year.
Yeah, wasn't he like barely off of Drew Brees?
He's like 1,200 yards behind him. So apparently, if he throws for his career average per game, he will break it against his former team, the New England Patriots, in Week 4.
That would be fantastic to see. Yeah, so Brady does not have I don't know. I don't know if that's one he can break, being the oldest player ever. Do you know who that was?
I was gonna say, wouldn't he have to play for like another 7 years or something?
Mm-hmm.
Was Vinatieri the oldest?
No.
Who was?
Vinatieri was only 45.
I thought he was like 47.
George Blanda.
48. How old was he? All right.
Yeah, 48 and 109 days.
Yeah, and Brady's only like 42 or 43, so.
Yeah. So
But that's the thing with him, though. I would not put it past him to try to do that.
Actually, I mean, you were right on Vinatieri. He is 48. But he didn't play in 2020. So he only played while he was still 46.
Yep.
Or no, 47. Because December 28th is his birthday. So he turned 47 in his last season playing. So yeah, Brady's got quite a ways to go. He is 43. He'll turn 44 in August. So,
but like I said, he's the type of player that he will keep playing as long as a team wants him. He will play until nobody in the league will take him anymore, which I don't know.
Well, hey, if he goes to, that's the thing. I think that if he really would want to do that, I think that I'm not sure if he would be in Tampa the whole time.
No. I think he's going to play out his contract in Tampa and then test the market again.
But you know what, though? I think that offense, even though, Ryan Tannehill is set up there, I think that offense in Tennessee is a perfect system for Brady to run. You don't have to throw the ball too many times, Tom. We'll give it to Derek 20 times a game. Just throw it about, 18 to 20 times per game, 18 to 25, and we'll win. We got Julio now. Defense isn't that great, but we'll score. It's fine. Just saying.
Yeah, but you got to think, though, with that, obviously this year, I think that, but by the time Brady's done in Tampa, Julio is going to be a couple of years older if he's still on the team, and so will Henry. So,
yeah,
you never know.
All right, next one, we're going to keep up the quarterback talk. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott has a new brand. He is no longer an Adidas guy. He is now the only NFL quarterback to be sponsored by the Jordan brand. And also, He literally just signed with them, but he's already that first contract with Jordan. He's the highest paid NFL Jordan player on their roster. So,
Yeah, I heard that, but I didn't look it up. Like, did he completely blow the other contracts out of the water, or is it just slightly higher than the other NFL players? Like, I can't even think of anybody else who is part of the Jordan brand that's an NFL player. Because obviously Jordan brand, when you first think of Jordan brand, you think of basketball, since that's what Jordan was known for, and that's what I think his main focus group is. But yeah,
well, I as far as football and Jordan goes, I always think of Michigan because Michigan's sponsored by Jordan. But just looking it up, it looks like Stephon Diggs is sponsored by Jordan. Jarvis Landry, Devin White, Kyle Pitts. So I don't know if that's actually true. I'm not sure though. This is just one, one website, so I guess you can't really see like lists like that. But or maybe you can. Jordan NFL roster. Here we go. This is from 2018 though, so it's probably much different now. Tyrann Matthew, Sterling Shepard, Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, Jordan Howard, Jimmy Garoppolo, Bobby Wagner. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure if any of those guys are still running with Jordan or not. But yeah, couple number changes, number news here. So Julio, I couldn't remember if we said this live or not when we were discussing Julio.
I don't believe so.
That what his actual number change was. But yeah, he didn't choose his high school number, nor did he choose his Alabama number, since he told AJ Brown that he could keep 11.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, high school number was 82. Alabama, he was 8. But no, he went with number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but did you hear the story behind it?
No.
Apparently, he was out to dinner with AJ Brown, and they were talking about it. And he went with the number 2 because now there's 2 number 11s on the team or something like that. So, like, that was his logic behind picking number 2, which whatever floats his boat. But I would have thought, I would have thought he would have went with something like number 22 if that was available. But
first off, I wasn't sure that number 2 was gonna be available either, because I thought Derrick Henry might have switched to number 2 because that's what he was at Alabama. And since you can switch to single digits now, but yeah, that's what I was like, is Derrick Henry not going to be number 2? I guess he's keeping 22, so whatever. The other number switch here that isn't confirmed, I don't think. Anyways, but Rams corner Jalen Ramsey came out at the first practice in mandatory minicamp now, I guess, wearing number 5, not his usual 20. Right? He was 20.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was thinking 25. But yeah, 20. But yeah, Jalen Ramsey back to number 5. I believe he was number 5 he was number 5 in college at Florida State. So that's probably what that was there. Anyways. Couple money moves here just to shift some cap. The Saints, they converted $10.2 million of corner Marshawn Lattimore's fifth-year option to a $990,000 base salary and the rest into a roster bonus that included void years. I believe it was 4 void years. And it was one of those things where it was like, all right, we actually like the real move was technically a 4-year $100 and whatever million extension for Marshawn Lattimore. But it's all void years, doesn't matter. It was just giving him a roster bonus and lowering his base salary to create cap space.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's definitely going to get paid eventually, but this definitely helps the Saints with their cap struggles.
Yeah, and they also, I don't know if it was actually today, if they said that or not, or if it was sometime within the last couple of weeks. But they also officially moved Drew Brees to the reserve retired list. But they had to make sure they did it after June 1st for cap purposes. It spreads Drew Brees' cap hit over the next 2 years. So the Titans also moving around some money as part of the Julio Jones trade. They restructured quarterback Ryan Tannehill's deal. It saved them over $18 million. Julio Jones is due $15.3 million this year. Added 2 void years on to the end of Tannehill's deal, so helping them with their cap space in the present. Anyways. Todd Gurley back in the news this week, visiting another team, the Baltimore Ravens this time. Had also visited the Lions before, we knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what the right situation for Todd Gurley is right now.
I don't know, but that's a team, though, right there with the Ravens, I think he would definitely thrive on. But thinking about it from a fantasy perspective, I wouldn't like that. I mean, I don't have J.K. Dobbins on any of my teams unless I do draft him in one of the one of the regular leagues or whatever. But for any J.K. Dobbins owner out there, I don't think that they like him, like Todd Gurley coming to the Rams.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. One of the guys to go get right now that I saw from an article on Fantasy Pros about a week and a half ago, one of those guys to go get in Dynasty right now was J.K. Dobbins. They said to go trade for J.K. if you could, and I tried. Didn't work out. I thought I gave adequate value based off their trade value charts. But yeah, they. I mean, that would be another blow though to JK's fantasy value.
Mm-hmm.
Also visiting the Ravens, another interesting name, former Broncos tight end Jake Butt. You know, I was a big proponent of Jake Butt coming out of Michigan. I thought he was pretty good at tight end. Never worked out with the Broncos as a second-round pick. Only played 8 games total in his 4 seasons in Denver. It was absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But he had 2 torn ACLs and I think what his other injuries were. I can't remember. But I know at least 2 of those years were ACLs, which he's now had 3 ACL tears in his career between
Yeah.
college and.
I mean, I'm with you though. I was big on him coming out of the draft. Obviously, there's a reason he was a second round pick, but yeah, injuries have kind of just derailed his
He was a
career.
5th round pick. My bad. He would have been a second round pick if he wouldn't have torn his ACL in the last game at Michigan.
Exactly though. He has the potential, but because of the injuries, obviously he, like you said, he's only played 8 games in 2 years. So he's only played half a season in 4 years, which is obviously not good. But I think because of his potential, a team will take a flyer on him. He's obviously visiting the Ravens right now, which they obviously don't really need tight ends because they have a couple good ones. But yeah, I think that his potential will land him an NFL job. Probably on the cheap, obviously, though, because of his injury history. But yeah, I definitely see him being on an NFL roster, or at least a practice squad of some sort.
I don't know why I wrote that he visited the Ravens. It wasn't the Ravens. It was the Cardinals. Who need a tight end though?
Yeah, so I think he has a shot at being on the Cardinals, like getting a job on the Cardinals. Definitely a better shot than he would if he was actually visiting the Ravens. But yeah, like I said though, I think that if he can stay healthy, if he can stop tearing the ACLs, then I think he's good to go.
Yeah, and actually, I was wrong. He didn't tear 2 in the NFL. He tore his ACL twice at Michigan. Just 2 years though of his missed time in the NFL was because of an ACL, his 3rd ACL that he tore. He missed the 18 season after playing the first 3 games. Yeah, because he tore his ACL for the 2nd time. The last game at Michigan he played, missed his entire 2017 rookie season because of that. 3 games into the 2018 season, he tore it again. Missed the entire 2019 season because complications, and then he played 5 games last year. Hamstring issue was what cost him most of the year. So kid's still only 25 years old. I mean, so 10 passes, 10 receptions for 90 yards in 8 games in Denver. So we'll see. Hope Jake Butt makes it. Moving on to a couple, or not a couple, one release here, not release, waived. Eagles, they waived quarterback Jamie Newman. He did clear waivers, so he's free to sign with anyone. I just had to put it on because it was quarterback, and it was Jamie Newman.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, they are rolling with Jalen Hurts as the starter right now, and they signed Joe Flacco as the backup. So I know a lot of teams like to keep 3 quarterbacks. I mean, do they have any more quarterbacks on the Eagles right now?
I can't think of it since San Fran signed Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah, so I mean, if they do, obviously it's somebody that's not that big of a name or whatever, but you really only need 2 quarterbacks, which is what they have. And yeah, a guy like Jamie Newman, he's also not that big of a name. So, I mean, there's a chance he signs with somebody, but it's kind of late in the offseason. So, I don't know. A lot of the teams already have their quarterback room set. I hate to say it, but obviously one team I could think of that doesn't have their quarterback room set is the Jets. they obviously need an experienced, solid backup, but I don't think Jamie Newman.
Yeah, I mean, as an undrafted guy, that's definitely not what you want. But I'm surprised that if the Eagles waived him now, because, like you pointed out, they don't have any other quarterbacks other than Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco on the roster, or at least the depth chart on ESPN doesn't show any other quarterbacks. So that brings into the question. I mean, they're going to sign someone, though. That's the thing. They have to. You're not going to go into training camp with two quarterbacks. That's just dumb. Especially with how old Flacco is. He's not going to take as many reps as a normal backup quarterback would. There's no way. The man's, 35, 36 years old now?
Something like that.
he's going to have some rest days with the other vets. So, you need someone else to take the snaps from Jalen Hurts. So I have no idea who that's going to be. It's going to be a low-level free agent like Jamie Newman kind of guy, undrafted free agent, someone along those lines.
I wonder why they decided to cut him though.
Well, because there's corresponding moves that took place. That we'll get to.
Because like you said, he is exactly what they're looking for right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are still some guys out there, I guess. Chris, well, this probably is not right, though. Spot track is just trying to look at some free agent quarterbacks for you.
I mean, the best one I can think of is Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
And I know you still have the thing for RG3, but
I mean, no one seems to want RG3, so probably because he got injured again last year, in the only game he started. But yeah, we'll get to the corresponding moves from the Eagles in a second. Guy that retired, corner Jonathan Joseph. He is done. Great career with the Texans, mostly. Also, I mean, he started his career at the Bengals, but I know him mostly from the Texans. So
yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember him as a Bengal, so he's mostly a Texan to me. But I've been expecting him to retire for a couple years now because I don't know exactly how old he is, but I just have always felt that he's like one of the oldest players in the league.
He was 36 last season. So, yeah, 5 years with the Bengals. I don't believe. Not sure if he was drafted. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, 5 seasons with the Bengals there, and then majority of his career, like I said, with the Texans, 9 seasons with the Texans, and then finished up 2020 between the Cardinals and the Titans. So, yeah, finished his career with 32 career interceptions, 7 defensive pick sixes, 200 pass deflections, 8 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries, 787 combined tackles. Even though tackle numbers never matter, because Well, the reason why I say that is because you can never. I don't know if there's an official website that you can trust that is the correct amount of career tackles. Like, obviously, you would like to say NFL, but then you have these guys like Pro Football Reference that have their own numbers.
I mean, that's where I get most of my stats from. But like you said, there's different numbers for a bunch of different sites. So, but yeah.
That's why I don't like career tackle numbers. I mean, obviously for corners, defensive backs, it really is not the stat you like anyways. It's interceptions, pass deflections, but just figured I'd say what his tackle numbers were. So the Packers, they will be without tight end Jay Sternberger for the first 2 games. He was suspended for those games for violating the NFL policy and program on substances of abuse. He posted on social media an apology saying what happened. He had taken, I forget what he had said he had taken, but he had taken whatever it was and then drank alcohol and then drove and hit a parked car, I believe it was, or he was found sleeping. Yeah, I believe he said he slept it off. Or yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, February 2020. Made a horrible decision while on antidepressants. I decided to drink, which led me to falling asleep behind the wheel. Coaches and teammates were the first people to know. Yeah, so he drank and drive.
I'm kind of surprised that it took this long to get out, though, because I never heard about it. So.
Well, you know the NFL. It takes them a million years to investigate everything and then finally bring down a punishment. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I guess it's gonna be the Josiah DeGuara show at tight end now for the first 2 games.
What about Tunyon? Isn't he on the team still?
That's true. Completely forgot about Robert Tunyon. Yeah, completely forgot. So yeah, they also have Mercedes Lewis that they signed as well. So that's all right. If Tunyon wouldn't have broke out last year, though, last year was the year I thought Jay Sternberger was going to be the guy since they had let Jared Cook go. And yeah. All right. A couple of injuries here. Actually, a lot of injuries from minicamp. The Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley, he underwent minor foot surgery. He'll be good to go for training camp. Nothing. It'll just a cleanup there. So
I hope that's all it is, and they're not just masking it, because I need him on my dynasty team.
Well, he's literally the only receiver in Atlanta. So
well, they replaced Julio with Kyle Pitts, though.
Yeah, but as great as Kyle Pitts is, I would never want to depend an entire offense on a rookie receiver anyway.
That is true.
The Niners, their 2020 injury bug has come back and is now rearing its head in 2021. They had already had these 2 guys that got hurt were taking starters reps in minicamp because their starters were coming back from injuries from last year. So that's why they got injured. Offensive tackle Justin School, he tore his ACL, done for the year. Safety Tarvarius Moore tore his Achilles, done for the year. Now, the guys that they were replacing, left tackle Trent Williams, he's coming back from an injury from last season. So that's why Justin School is starting at left tackle in minicamp. At safety, it was Jaquiski Tart that was coming back from an injury from last year. So that is why Tavarius Moore was playing in his spot. So yeah.
All I know is that the 49ers have to get new strength and conditioning guys, because obviously the guys that they have now are not telling the players to do the right things.
Well, I mean, I know the Eagles, they got a whole new athletic training staff for the 2020 season. Still didn't help. So another injury. This one, the most, well, other than the Niners, the most significant. The Chiefs guard Kyle Long, he suffered what is believed to be a fractured kneecap. But they said he should be ready to go by week 1, or he could be ready to play by week 1. Granted, Kyle Long probably isn't going to be a starter anyways. So
it's a very strange injury, though. Like a fractured kneecap. Obviously, it can happen because it did happen, but I don't think I've ever heard of that injury before.
I have.
But, yeah, like you said, I mean, it hurts their depth a little bit, but he wasn't going to be a starter right now anyway. So, I mean, and if it's not a nagging injury, he should be good to go by the season beginning, or close to the season beginning at least. So, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for him, coming out of retirement this year. So
that his injury also begs the question, though, because like you said, he was retired, so you gotta wonder how much like conditioning and stuff that he's been doing since retiring. Obviously, I don't think that he was doing as much as he was when he was playing, but I mean, I think it's just in athlete's nature to continue to work out and do all that post playing.
Yeah. I wonder if he was working out with his brother, with Chris, or not. I don't know. I think Chris Long still could have played a little bit more, but just saying.
I wouldn't mind seeing him come back, because he was obviously a good luck charm for a couple of teams.
Yeah.
Just like LeGarrette Blount, he was on back-to-back Super Bowl teams, different teams.
Yeah, Chris Long, 2-time Super Bowl champ, Patriots and Eagles. Another injury. Speaking of the Patriots, their shiny new weapon, tight end Hunter Henry. He injured his lower left leg in practice on Monday. Nothing serious, though. I haven't seen any updates, but Ian Rappaport said there was nothing serious. So too bad for you, Chris.
I mean, yeah, that'll be interesting to see if it's as minor as I've always been skeptical when they say an injury isn't serious, because to me, I feel like it's just them kind of trying to mask the severity of it and just try to make it not seem as serious as it actually is. Obviously, there are times where the injuries are I hope it's going to maybe become active as normal.
That's a long one. Yeah. Either Chris is in a dead zone or my roommates are taking up too much of the internet, and that's why the internet is bad. But yeah, did not hear like anything you said, Chris. So
Am I back?
no, you're not. You're still frozen, which is always great. All right. The Chiefs, they're a little unfrozen, a little bit. Chiefs corner Charvarius Ward, he signed his second round restricted free agent tender this week. That's $3.384 million for him. Good for the Chiefs to get one of their top corners back, really. And like I said, there were corresponding moves from the Jamie Newman waiving. That was, first off, I didn't put it on the script, but the Eagles signed wide receiver Michael Walker. And second, which the bigger name, they re-signed tight end Richard Rodgers, which I think is fantastic signing. Richard Rodgers has been really good in Philly as their third tight end. You know, everyone, literally everyone, projects Richard Rodgers to go in as the second tight end, most likely behind Dallas Goedert after the Eagles trade Zach Ertz this offseason sometime.
Yeah, well, when is that going to happen?
Absolutely no clue.
Because, like, I mean, obviously teams need 3 tight ends and all that, but is this a sign that they're closer to trading Zach Ertz?
Possibly. Because they do believe in Caleb Wilson, their fourth string tight end right now, who was also their fourth string last year. But they also released wide receiver Khalil Tate as a part of all these moves as well. So
No, I don't know though. All I'm waiting for though is Zach Ertz to be traded or to find out whether he's staying or not, because I picked him up in our dynasty league as like tight end 2 or 3 for me. So I'm just waiting to see if if he's worth a roster spot or not.
he will be. He'll be traded to Buffalo. So
God, I hope not.
And Richard Rodgers is a godsend in my betting career as well. You know, he hit on an anytime touchdown bet last year for about $120, I think it was.
Nice.
That was the Carson Wentz to Richard Rodgers Hail Mary late in the Seahawks game. That didn't matter.
I mean, if nothing else, that's what he's good for, because he was also on the receiving end of Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary too. So
yeah.
But that one actually did matter. They won the game on that one. So
yeah.
But yeah, he's a good deep threat.
Hail Mary Rodgers should be his new nickname. The Niners, in conjunction with Justin School's torn ACL there, they did sign a depth replacement there. Offensive lineman Senio Kelemete, I believe they said 42 games started in his career. Started 14 for the Texans last year, I think it was. Very good, very solid depth addition there. Has played a lot of ball. Yes, 14 games last year for the Texans, 5 starts. Has started 42 in his career. Yes. Played for the Cardinals, mostly with the Saints. Four out of his 8 years have been with the Saints, and then last 3 with the Texans. So 88 career games played, though. And then finally, an unofficial signing that hasn't happened yet, but is expected to, the Packers. They're expected to sign former Falcons and Cardinals linebacker Devondre Campbell, just adding to the linebacker depth behind why am I blanking right now?
The Smith brothers?
No. They're outside linebackers. Devondre Campbell plays inside. Oh, they did sign him, I guess. He's on their depth chart on ESPN. So I hadn't heard that they actually signed him. Kamal Martin and Chris Barnes are 2 inside linebackers right now. They definitely need him. I didn't think they needed him too much, but seeing Chris Barnes as a starter, yeah. 80 tackles last season. That's combined, though. Kamal Martin isn't terrible. He had, I guess, gotten injured. Yeah, he did get injured. I have no clue, though. Yeah, he got injured. He didn't play half the season. So, but yeah, Packers signing Devondre Campbell there. And that is all the news. But we do have our show Monday. That'll be the next one on the docket. That'll be the last one, though, before we start having actual stuff to talk about and some special shows coming up. So next Friday, Chris will be wearing his Jets jersey.
And I don't know. I might not be wearing a jersey, but I will be wearing Jets gear.
And I
don't have any reliable jerseys right now.
We'll be having our first season preview, starting with the AFC East, talking schedules, record predictions, maybe some fantasy stuff. I don't know. We might save all our fantasy talk for our fantasy ranking shows closer to the preseason. But yeah, we'll also look at the rosters, see if there's any free agents left. Highly doubt it, but yeah, that'll be next Friday. Excited for that one. And actually, hopefully, someone's available to host because next Friday I will be on the road. So,
and I am every Friday too. So,
alrighty.
Hopefully, Mark's around or something.
Yeah, let's hope. All right. Like I said, that is all for today's show. Thank y'all for watching at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Check us out on Spotify. FAApodcast.com is the site. Shop some merch on there. Greatly appreciate all the love. All right, Chris. We'll see you on